Okay, chapter 5 gets into the time value of money. I'm going to give some background information on the time value of money and some of the things I'm going to use, and then we'll get into a problem or two. I'm going to use timelines. It's going to seem unnecessary on some of these basic problems. It'll be useful when we get to more complicated problems later on. In the timeline, I'll have the time periods across the top. Generally, that's the number of years, but it could be semi-annual periods or quarters or some other time frame too. The interest rate, generally I'll put it right here at the top. So for instance, if we had 6%, I would put 0.06 there as our interest rate. And then the cash flows go along the bottom. So for instance, if we deposited $500 at time 0 right now, we would put $500 there, and we'd take some other cash flow coming out. Maybe it's worth $800 at time 3, and you'd put your different cash flows at your different time periods. Abbreviations that I'll use: present value, PV, future value, FV. Time periods, I'll use T for time periods. If we're using a calculator, and sometimes you'll see it in other textbooks where you'll see the number of time periods referred to with an N. Interest rate, I'll use R generally all the time in equations. In other textbooks, and maybe you'll see some other references where they use I. When we use a calculator, we'll use I. The abbreviation is I/Y. So let's go ahead and take a look at just some basic time value of money information. Let's assume we have $100 that we're going to deposit in a bank account, and we're earning 5%. And we want to know what it's going to be worth after 1 year, and we'll do this for a few years. So we've got $100. We'll multiply this by 1 plus our interest rate. So after 1 year, we've got $105 in our bank account. So now it's worth $105. What about after year 2? We'll take our $105 and multiply again by 1.05 to get 110.25. Now you'll notice it's not just $5 going up in $5 increments, because once you start the second year, the first year, once you begin this period, you're not earning 5% on $100, you're earning 5% on $105. So you're earning interest on the interest that you already have earned. This is the process called compounding, or compound interest. You earn interest once you accumulate some interest in that account. And if we had compounded more frequently, that is, if we had gotten 2.5% every 6 months, we would actually have even more money, slightly more money. So continuing the process, we'll take our 110.25 and multiply that by 1.05 to get 115.76. And then we'll take our 115.76 multiplied by 1.05, and you'll get 121.55. When I was explaining timelines, I didn't do this, but this is just a break in the timeline. For instance, if we were going out to 8 years and I don't have enough space to put 8 years on here, I'll just break it and then go to 8. So after 4 years, we've got 121.55, and we can do that, but as you can see, this process would take us a long time if we were going on a number of years. Fortunately, this breaks down into an easier equation. Our present value times 1 plus our interest rate taken to the number of time periods is equal to our future value. And if we had wanted to know what would $100 be worth in 4 years, if we were earning 5% on that, we would have just taken $100 times 1.05 to the 4th, and we would have gotten our 121.55. And that's what the rest of chapter 5 breaks down into. It's solving for this equation. So you've basically got 4 problems. You've got 3 variables that will be given to you, and then you'll solve the unknown variable. So you'll be given rate, time, future value, solve for present value, or you'll be given present value, rate, future value, solve for time, but it'll be solved for one of these four variables, and you'll be given the other three variables. And I'll go through in the following videos and do a sample problem for each of those.